Hello, hello, hello. Check, check, check. Hello and welcome to List Lesson 1 of Data Science online Python tutorial series. We are waiting for a few more people to join. We will start at 2:05. And meanwhile, you can say hi in the comment section so that I can greet you. In this list lesson, we are going to cover what are lists. We're going to understand how to create a list, how to access elements, indexing of the list, reverse indexing, negative indexing, that is, list slicing, list mutability of the lists, and then we will solve 5 problems with these concepts so that you can practice them, and then the tips and tricks by the master, followed by the take home assignment, and then the code review tasks. So it's a power packed session, and we are just starting lists. We are gonna go from basics to the most advanced concepts in the list. Hello Amit, welcome to the list lesson 1. Thanks for joining. So let's get started with list lesson 1. As I already told you, we are going to cover the basics of the list, what are lists, how to create a list, accessing, indexing, reverse indexing, slicing, mutability, some problems, and then the tips and tricks by the master. So what are lists? So lists are collection in Python which can hold a lot of data, right, different elements, and it is iterable. It is an ordered iterable, so all the elements are in a particular order and you can loop over it, so that's why an iterable. And it's mutable, like it can be modified, right? Lists are mutable in Python, and it can also contain multiple types of data. For example, it can contain a string, integer, float, list, dictionary. It can contain all sorts of data, a single list, right? So it's ordered, it's iterable, it's mutable, and it can contain multiple data types. So let's create a list. How do we create a list? We create a list using square brackets. So these are the square brackets. Let's create a list of numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And if you print this, so you're gonna see 1, 2, 3, 4, right? This is the list we have created in a very simple manner. You can also create list in this way. The point to understand here is all the elements are same in this list. What if I want to create a list with different elements? So I would do the same, ls equals to, so let's say first element is a number, second element is a name, a string, third element is a dictionary. So let's create a dictionary. Oh ho, he, right? So the point I'm trying to make is a list can contain any type of data, right? It is not necessary that it should have only one type of data. So you can see it's a number, a string, and a dictionary contained in the same dictionary, and if you contained in the same list. So if you print that, print ls, you're gonna see that the string representation of that list. I hope so far the concept is clear. Any doubts you can ask in the comment section. So accessing elements and indexing. So you can see various elements in this list. What if I want to access a particular element, a specific element? I can do that with indexing. So what are indexes? It's just a mapping for every element. So every element in a list is at a particular index. For example, the index starts from 0. So the element at index 0 is 1. Element at index 1 is data science. Element at index 2 is this dictionary. Right. So keep in mind, index starts at 0 in a list. Indexing starts at 0. So if I want to access, I just want to pass that index in a bracket. So ls of 0 is 1. Ls of, let's say ls of 2 is ho ho he he, this dictionary. But if you try to access an element which is not there, for example ls of 50, because there is no index 50 in this list, so it's gonna raise an error, index error, right? List index out of range, because you're trying to access something which is not there. This list only has 0, 1, 2. If you go beyond 2, you're gonna get the index error. So keep in mind, always check the index that you're trying to fetch from the list, right? Now reverse indexing. So I told you index starts at 0 in a list and goes like 0, 1, 2, 3 and so on till the last element. So reverse indexing. Reverse indexing starts from the right hand side of the list. So for example, let's create a list ls equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now reverse indexing will start from 5. This element, right? It will start from the right hand side. It is also known as negative indexing, because the reverse index starts from -1 and goes like -1, -2, -3, -4 and so on. So last element is -1 index, element before that is at -2 index, element before that is at -3 index, and so on and so forth. So let's try to fetch the element at -4 index in this list. So similarly, I just create a brackets and I try to access that by passing the index. So let's define this first, and yep. So -1, -2, -3, -4. So 2 is at -4 index. It has returned correctly. Let's try to get -1, and it is 5, right? -1. So yep. So the thing to keep in mind is the reverse indexing starts from -1, whereas the forward indexing starts from 0. So what is list slicing? Basically, taking a subset of a list, taking a sublist from that list is called slicing. We take just a part of that list and that is called slicing. How do we do that? We do that by using the indexing. So we already know that, let's say create a simple list ls equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We already know that the index is like this. 0, right? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is like the index. So there are 6 elements. So 6. Yep. So this is the indexing in this list. Now how do we slice? There is a simple syntax ls of start and step size. So this is the syntax of slicing. I'm gonna explain it. So start is the starting point, starting index, end is the ending index, step is the step size. Okay, let's do it. Let's try an example. So I'm gonna run from index 2 to index 4 and the step size is 1, right? So by default the step size is 1, so you don't have to write it specifically. So I'm starting from index 2 and going till index 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3 and 4. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 should have come, but the point is the end index is exclusive. It's not included. Okay. So keep this in mind. End index is excluded and by default step size is 1. Okay. So this is the way you can index. Now let's try to add a step size. I'm going from index 1 to index 5 and then the step size of 2. So you get 2 and 4. you get a jump, right? You get a steps, you set a step size, that's why it's starting from 1 and then it makes a jump. So that's the meaning of step size. Any questions you can ask in the comment section. Now we also learned about reverse indexing. So can we do reverse slicing? Yes, we can. So ls of, let's give an example of reverse slicing. Ls of, so starting index, let's say -2, I'm starting from -2, going till -4, and the step size default takes care. Let me make a step size of -1. So we start from -2, we go till -4 index, and the step size of -1, because we have to go in the negative direction. I hope this concept of reverse slicing is clear. Just keep in mind the start, the end, and the step size, and you will be good to go. Default value of step size is 1. So lists are mutable. Mutable means modifiable. Mutable means changeable. Mutable means something that can be changed, right? So how can we change a list? So ls equals to, let's create a list 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I want to change the element at index 3. ls of 3, I want to make it 1500. So will it work? Yes, it will work. Let's print the list ls equals to 1, 2, 3, 1500. So index ls of index 3, 0, 1, 2, 3. So 4 is at index 3. Now it has been made 1500. So lists can be changed, lists can be modified, right? I hope this is clear to you. Now 5 problems with so we learned about what are lists, right? How you can create a list and how you can access the elements of the list, and then the slicing and then reverse slicing, right? It's time now So we learned about what are lists, how to create a list, accessing elements, reversing indexing, list slicing, and the mutability of the list. Now it's time for solving the 5 problems. So create a list of animals. Very simple. ls equals to animals, dog, cat, lion, tiger. Simple. And let's print that. So we just created the list. Now second question, print out elements at index 3, 5, 7 from a list of 10 elements. So first of all, let's create a list of 10 elements. ls equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. List of 10 elements. Now I need to print elements at index 3, element at index 5, element at index 7. So you can see 4, 6, 8 are at indexes 3, 5, 7. Now reversing a list. How you can reverse a list? So very simple, guys. So first of all, let's create an empty list. So there are multiple ways of reversing a list, and the other ways will be covered in today's tips and tricks and also in the subsequent lessons. But from the knowledge that we have so far, let me show you a way to reverse a list. So ls equals to, let's say 1, 2, and 3. and let's say reversed, let's create an empty list reverse. So for I in enumerate ls, let's say I in range length of list to 0, or too simply for I in ls, you can just keep appending for I in range -1 to length negative of length of ls with a step size of -1. Let's first print these elements, print I, -1 and -1, -2, so we need to decrease this by 1, -1, -2, -3. Now I just keep appending them, rev dot append ls of I. So, and if you print rev now, you're gonna see 3 to 1, the rest has been reversed. So we learned about the range function in the loop series when we are doing it. So this is a simple way to reverse a list, and in the subsequent lessons and today also we are going to see very smart ways of reversing a list. So problem number 4, convert numbers at odd indices into squares of those numbers. So let's say a list is ls equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now we need to convert numbers at odd indices into squares of those numbers. So we just run a loop for I in range length ls, right? We just get the number at odd indices. So if I modulo 2 equals to not equals to 0, that means the number, the index is odd, so we're gonna square that number, and ls of I will become ls of I squared, right? And after that, let's print the list. So you can see the numbers at odd indices have become the square, 4, 16, 36. So now let's slice a list into two halves. Question 5 says slice a list into two halves. How can we do that? So ls equals to, let's say, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're just gonna use slicing. So ls of starting from 0 to, so first half equals to this, and second half equals to, let's say, length of ls by 2. So if you do length of ls by 2, 4 by 2 is 2, so 0, 1. This becomes the first half, right? And then you want to have a second half, so length of ls by 2 to the end. Now let's print the first half and second half. Print first half And similarly, let's print the second half. Okay, so division is giving float, so we need to convert that to int. So you can see the first half and the second half. We have successfully split the list into two halves using slicing. Now it's time for tips and tricks by the master. So the first tip is reverse a list in a single line. So how we can reverse a list in a single line? Very simple, guys. ls equals, let's say this is the list 1, 2, 3, and you want to reverse that in a single line. So we use negative indexing and slicing. The list has been reversed in a single line. Simplest way to reverse a list, use slicing and negative indexing. Now, multiple simultaneous assignments. So the list has 3 items. We need to assign these into separate variables. So what you would normally do is name equals to list of 0, then goal equals to list of 1, then key equals to list of 2, right? This is the way you would do, and it would take you 3 lines, but there is a cooler way, there is a smarter way to do it. You can just do name goal key equals to ls. So if you print name goal and key, name, so let me just, yeah, if you print name, it will come as data science. If you print goal, come as success. Print key, it would come as grades. So all these 3 assigned to these variables in a single line of code like this. So the take home assignment for you is reverse a list using 2 methods. Modify a list by adding elements from other list. So given list ls1, ls2, output should be ls1 equals to 2, 4, 6. Basically, you just keep adding the elements of list 2 into the elements of list 1. And this is the code review task. Go to this link, thatascience.com, learn Python empty list, and understand the code, because code review is important for a developer. To become a great developer, you should know how to read others' code and understand it. Okay, so in today's lesson, we covered lists, creating a list, accessing elements, reverse indexing, slicing, and mutability. So I hope you like this lesson. You can ask your questions and doubts in the comment section. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, so that you can get notification of future classes. Thanks for joining. All the best.